Robotnik is back.
I've discovered the source of ultimate power.
After being banished from planet Earth at the end of the first movie, Dr. Robotnik is back with a vengeance in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Not only does he have a powerful new ally in Knuckles, but his arsenal of deadly weaponry looks like it's gonna give Sonic and new pal Tails a serious run for their rings. Ever the narcissist, Robotnik's giant mech is designed in his own image and is directly inspired by the Death Egg robot Sonic fights in the final stage of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 video game. Final showdowns between the hero and villain have always been a thrilling component of movies, and have even increasingly taken cues from video games in the last 30 years. But for all the video game adaptations we've had in that time, that exciting feeling you get from taking on the final boss has rarely been translated all that well on screen. As we cross our fingers for Sonic 2 to get it right, let's take a look back at some previous attempts at adapting the concept of a boss battle, and whether any of them have achieved a flawless victory. Oh, sorry, hold on.
Flawless victory.
The final boss battles take many different forms in video games. For our purposes, we're going to boil down the most important dynamics of these duels like so. Final boss fights usually feature the hero battling the story's main villain, the most powerful foe the player will face. The player is expected to use a wide variety of the experience and upgrades they've accrued up to that point, including mastery of the game's mechanics and available power-up items. These battles usually occur in a dramatic, sweeping locale. Of course, that's no exhaustive list, but it's enough for us to consider how good a job some high-profile video game adaptations have done in recreating that experience on screen. While maybe not the first video game movie, the 1994 Street Fighter adaptation did take a crack at having its hero Guile face down an ultra-powerful foe in Raul Julia's M. Bison. Though the lore of the Street Fighter games was still very much in its infancy, the movie does make the baffling decision to sideline main characters Ryu and Ken in favor of having Jean-Claude Van Damme play Colonel William F. Guile, who's definitely American. See the tattoo? That's how you know. Sure, the movie ends with a one-on-one battle as Guile tries to prevent Bison from taking over the world, and on kind of a cool set that gives M. Bison plenty of room to sail around on wires and perform a version of his signature Psycho Crusher move. Jean-Claude Van Damme's Guile rings Bison's bell, literally, in a nod to Bison's level from the game, and hits him with his own signature flash kick. At least Raul Julia is absolutely swinging for the fences.
Come here prepared to fight a madman, and instead you found a god?
So shockingly powerful as Bison is here, this overwrought fight is just not what the Street Fighter games are all about. Luckily, this didn't completely kill the market for movies based on fighting games. The first two Mortal Kombat adaptations are pure 90s schlock, but you know what? They remain some of the more enjoyable video game movies for just that reason. Oh, the first one anyway.
You're alive. Too bad you will die.
The 1995 original benefits from a memorable villain performance from Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa as the soul-sucking Shang Tsung.
Your brother's soul is mine.
Our hero Liu Kang is out for revenge after the evil sorcerer killed his brother and enters the Mortal Kombat tournament to save Earthrealm from Shang Tsung and his plans for an invasion from Outworld. Their confrontation is framed with Kitana echoing Raiden's lessons to Liu Kang.
Face your enemy. Face yourself. Face your worst fear.
Liu Kang's general improvement as a warrior takes the place of him developing any of his iconic techniques from the games, though he does pull off a bicycle kick earlier on, and he shoots a little fire out of his hands here when he kills Shang Tsung. That's fun too. But Shang Tsung's moveset, which centers on mimicking other fighters, actually gets brought into this fight rather nicely, as he conjures previous combatants to fight Liu Kang and even masquerades as Liu Kang's fallen brother to get into his head. And how about this arena? It's not a bland concrete hole, which we will get into later. It's moody, and it's got a giant Mortal Kombat logo on the floor. Plus, it's got floor spikes, which means we get the opportunity for a kill right out of the games. A stage fatality. Now say something from the game! Now say something from the game!
Flawless victory.
Yeah! That's the thing I said earlier. All in all, a pretty good early example of boss fights testing their might. Time.
Testing their might.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, on the other hand,
Not good enough.
Oh, elder gods. I mean, Liu Kang's told that in order to defeat Shao Kahn, ruler of Outworld, he'll need to master his animality. But what even is that? In the game, it's just a finisher that has you as the player turn into an animal to destroy your opponent. But here it's some muddled Super Saiyan-esque next level of power. It doesn't mean anything, and it looks like this. Ew. Oh, 90s CG. Oh god, shapes. So many shapes. The original Resident Evil movie, directed by Mortal Kombat's Paul W.S. Anderson, actually showed, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, a little restraint in choosing to adapt elements of the game without straight copy-pasting them into the movie. While none of the subsequent films are one-to-one translations of the game's stories, they did quickly find themselves shoehorning in things like the popular Nemesis enemy from Resident Evil 3. Seeing how loosely these movies adapt the games, it should be no surprise that the final battles against heavies like Nemesis and later Wesker in Afterlife either put no effort into honoring the tension of the games or the mechanics of the gameplay, and fall flat on their faces by trying to recreate their characters' superhuman abilities with visual effects you could probably outdo on your phone these days. But why waste money on good visual effects if you're still turning a profit on every single movie? Yes, every one of these things made money, but not enough to buy a boss fight that channels the intensity of the games. The 2005 adaptation of Doom is mostly remembered these days for its first-person perspective sequence, which sees Karl Urban's Reaper get hit by a pinky so hard that it knocks the movie back into third-person perspective for a second. But aside from that, it also features a rare villain performance from Dwayne Johnson as Sarge, Reaper's commanding officer on their mission to secure the UAC's Mars base after their experiments cause all hell to break loose. Sorry, I'm not going to be subtle talking about this movie. It's Doom. The final battle is about as mid-2000s, mid-budget as you can mid-get. Two dudes and their stunt doubles fist-fighting in a concrete/metallic arena, and oh yeah, they both have demon powers now. While the Doom games have drifted towards giving the Doomslayer hell powers, that was hardly a twinkle in the series' eye at this point. So does the fight build on anything that Reapers learned or overcome throughout the movie? No. Is this an interesting, dramatically relevant location for this movie to take place? No, it's a big concrete room with white accent lights. Like, what if it's Street Fighter, but more boring? God, I am sorry for reminding you this exists. Here's a clip of The Rock shooting the BFG by way of apology. And big surprise, it misses the mark, just like the boss fight. But hey, video game movies have been learning. Even though Detective Pikachu largely eschews the one-on-one battles of the games, it does still find room to incorporate the idea of gaining mastery of a Pokemon's moveset through experience, even if that experience is more about crime-solving and self-discovery here.
Tim said Volt Tackle's my best move. Let's do this Pokemon battle thing right!
Detective Pikachu ends on a fight between Pikachu and Mewtwo, taking place high above Rhyme City on Pokefloats. Wrong game, but hey, still a cool visual for the movie. Detective Pikachu also respects the world of the games by making the all-powerful genetically engineered Mewtwo a victim of circumstance. He's being psychically controlled by the dastardly Howard Clifford in an attempt to turn Rhyme City's population into Pokemon. Yeah, this movie's wild. But despite Clifford's disbelief that a Pikachu could beat Mewtwo, the movie arrives at the conclusion that a trainer and Pokemon working in sync can win any battle. Detective Pikachu used actually decent boss fight, and yes, it was super effective. Which brings us right back around to Sonic the Hedgehog. Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik spends the movie hunting Sonic to harness his not very well-defined power. But Sonic doesn't so much spend the movie adding to his fighting skill set as he does learning how to harness the power of family. Aww. To that end, all Donut Lord here does is toss one of Sonic's portal rings for the blue blur to push Robotnik into. But Sonic the Hedgehog does get points for faithfully representing Sonic's preferred method of defeating Robotnik, turning into a ball and bonking the hell out of him. Perhaps appropriately in adapting a series which began as a two-dimensional platformer which favored speed above all else, the Sonic movie chooses to have the final showdown between Sonic and Robotnik end rather quickly. And as far as dramatic locales go, Green Hills, Montana ain't it. So while it's not a bad final boss fight, the sequel is primed to race right past it, even if it seems like Sonic 2's final battle may be taking place in Green Hills. Again, we don't have long to wait to see Robotnik's giant Death Egg robot in action, but until then, let us know in the comments what your favorite cinematic boss fight is. Be sure to check out our chat with Sonic the Hedgehog 2's cast and director from IGN's FanFest, plus Sonic voice actor Ben Schwartz reacting to a speedrun of the game. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.